Hi there. It is
Hey,
Wednesday afternoon, and here we are. We've got
OH,
fun virtual background going on. We're just living
grooving,
large,
grooving with the technology.
living large in the live stream space. And we're Dave and Laura Butler. We are going to be talking today about something that we're really excited about, this whole concept of coping with the need for organizational change. And take it off. Take it from here,
Well,
Dave.
well,
Kick it
I
off.
think I think it's important to reference what you just before we started. We were talking about the CBS Sunday Morning had an article about getting back to work and companies that are demanding that workers come back and hybrid and remote. And I mean, the whole thing is just a big jumbled up mess. But companies have got to be able to step up to this change, and it's so radical. It's so across the board from the pandemic and from all of the remote workers. The people just are not going to go back to work. I mean, you can demand all you want. We've got to start thinking differently. And organizations that are founded on such old principles have got to go back and redesign what they're doing, which is it's a massive undertaking, but it's got to happen. I mean, sooner or later, they're just going to be so out of step and so out of sync with what's going on that they'll fail anyway. It's like the old edifice is crumbling around us.
Well, what we were talking about is, the article was going back to the office or full
Yeah,
time hybrid. And to me, what it is that's just one small piece to
tip of the
what's,
iceberg.
it depends on your industry. I mean, look at the supply chain,
Mess.
problems and mess that's going on. But,
Yeah,
that is an indicative of
old
trying
thinking.
the situation while it's already ahead of the game.
Right, right.
And so, if we can help organizations get beyond what's going on so they can be prepared for that fix,
Yeah,
whatever it may be, then they're in a whole lot better place. And before we go any further, we're Dave and Laura Butler of Work Life Consulting. So thank you for joining us today. And what we do is provide that thinking, helping organizations and individuals take a look at what they want for their future. How do they communicate and work together as a team? But also as a leader, how do you motivate? Because another thing that's going on right now, the need for organizational change is around retention and
yeah,
engagement.
yeah. I mean, learning how to engage in new ways, getting everybody together for a kumbaya. I mean, it's nice once in a while, but it's just not going to work anymore. We have to find ways to better engage people because of their interests and their passions, as well as their style and their ability. And one of the big things is making the environment more conducive so that they can feel comfortable where they are.
But in terms of how do you address this? Okay, we all need, to cope with organizational change in some
Yeah,
way.
yeah,
Um, but what we talked about earlier were three foundational principles
right.
that would help organizations take a look. It doesn't mean that it's a quick fix by any means, but certainly, most importantly, each organization must adapt and learn how to innovate.
Yeah, these are not typically one of the higher competencies that most organizations hire people for. So we have to learn how to be more adaptable. We have to learn how to be able to innovate, think of new ways to do things, and be willing to try them out. I mean, that's one of the most difficult pieces is, we come up with ways to do it and we think it's like a magic fix. Well, most things are just going to be beta versions of whatever we're doing for the rest. I mean, it's like beta versions have become the standard.
Well, what it reminds me of is, 6 years ago plus, we had shared, and we still do share because it's so outstanding, the video, The Adaptable Mind.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That video, if you haven't listened or watched it, please go ahead and do yourself a favor. They talk about these competencies that
Right.
Dave just referenced. So another piece, and it certainly is key to the future of success, is collaboration.
Yeah.
And collaboration doesn't look like it used to either, because the whole unstructured environment
Yeah.
is much more conducive to scrumming than it's
Right.
ever been.
Yeah. And in these unstructured environments, you need to be able to collaborate with somebody on the drop of a hat. You may not have time to learn all about them and build trust and all the things that we've done for 20 years ago with trust building. Well, you've got to have a team that's together more than once or twice to be able to build any trust. So how do you get? So we were listening to an article today, Swift trust. What's Swift trust look like? How do you do that? And we need to have tools to be able to help us to do that, which is why we use the Berkman. The Berkman tells us a lot about each other without my having to get together with you and do, a rope course. I mean, it's still a nice thing to do to go out and have some sort of team building activities, but I need to get to know how I can be more effective with you, because I learn about your needs. I learn the ways that you like to be communicated to.
Well, and Berkman, because we talk about needs, does not imply that you're needy. One of the most professional qualities of leaders in terms of looking at how can you articulate the future for yourself is to look at what you need.
Yeah,
And
just a simple example is you need more time to think about things. I need more time to talk about things. So I'm
right.
talking, you're thinking, I'm talking. We need to find a way to find a happy medium. So I have to be patient and let you think things through, and you have to be patient and let me talk for a while.
And what I love, what Berkman recently broke down, sort of an acronym for needs. They're non-negotiable. So you can't just sometimes go this color need and sometimes go that. My needs are blue and my needs are time. Your needs are green and your needs are connection.
Mm-hmm.
Non-negotiable.
Yeah.
And expectations for, so you set it up very clearly, yourself and your results for expectations. So the expectations are aligned with what you need and based on what the desired situations are. So you set yourself up for success based on knowing what your needs are.
Mm-hmm.
The unique quality of Berkman is this needs, and we've helped many people articulate what those are.
Yeah.
And then the third principle is to redesign how organizations operate. So what do you think? You mentioned this. So what's your takeaway on this one?
Well, we're so embedded in the way we think work operates. This goes to this, then it goes to here, and then it goes to here. Everything's structured in such a way that is based on old principles. And to redesign is a very difficult thing to do, because you have to really step back and say, hey, we have to really start from scratch here, because if we're just playing around with the surface, the tracks are so deep underneath everything we're doing that we just fall back into the same ruts. So we got to step back far enough from that to be able to rip up the tracks and find new ways to go about things. Maybe it doesn't start the same way. Maybe the sales process looks different. Maybe the way that we take in the materials that we use is different. One way or another, we've got to be able to step back and really redesign the whole process.
Well, again, we are Dave and Laura Butler. Thank you for joining us. If you're joining live, thank you. If you're joining on a recording, thank you. So we're here every Wednesday, usually at 4:00, talking about sort of current state of affairs, but also things we've seen over our 30 years of leadership and team dynamics. And we provide opportunities for leaders to jump in with their teams, for individuals to assess what they need overall for work-life success. So the steps of how do you go about doing this? These are the three general areas that we landed on, but it's got to start from the bottom up.
Yeah, that's one of the basic principles of the redesign. Has got to start from the delivery and work your way back. It's like re-engineering from the end result back to the beginning, and that means you've got to engage the people that are on the front lines. They know better than anyone what it takes to get the job done, and rather than wasting time trying to figure it all out in the ivory tower and then roll out the program, you need to get the people who are actually involved on the front lines involved in that redesign.
And it reminds me of my volunteer work on the board of the HBA, the Healthcare Businesswomen's Association. And we're rolling out a new strategic vision for the future, along with a new organizational design model. And what I've heard from the leaders who have been successful with embracing this and engaging people is collaboration is key. So they have brought people in, and they're basically been so successful at celebrating this that the people involved are saying, "Oh, finally."
Yeah, it's about time. I've been talking about this for years,
About time. So we mentioned Scrum before, and this would be a perfect opportunity for leaders to say, here's the goal, and this is what we have as our next step. Set short-term goals resulting in quick wins.
Right.
And so what can happen is, and not everybody is going to jump on board with these concepts. So those that want to be a part of the model, invite them in to come up with a plan and it works beautifully with leaders who maybe are in between hiring a direct report, and they're ending up picking up the slack, if you will. You know, what it really helps with is helping the current list of people, the current group, to be able to come up with a strategy for in the interim.
Yeah, and the quick wins have a way of building some momentum. There's nothing worse than sit there and see things not working out. Well, just wait, and we'll eventually get there. Everybody wants to see something and feel something that makes them appreciate the fact that things are happening.
Well, it requires this. I mean, we know this from theater backgrounds and how you started with your career. You know, doing this kind of work, you don't expect a troupe to get on stage and do Hamlet right out of the gate, unless you want to see Monty Python or something. It's not going to be a very well rehearsed.
Yeah. One time I heard one director say to me, "Look, the rehearsal is where we do everything wrong, so that we can eventually figure out what's right."
Yeah.
In other words, you got to be able to fail. You fail quick, learn, try it again. Fail quick, learn, try it again. That way that you can build the momentum and you can figure out how to do it.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, and look at organizations don't do that. Rehearsal time.
Fail? What do you mean fail?
I mean, it gets so, we generally speaking, get so caught up in finishing, done next. And, you know, to be able to step back and put the metrics in place, tell the story correctly, think, does this align with the vision? By the way, that's the Berkman map overview. A little plug there is so key to success. So any closing thoughts on for today?
The only closing thought I have is we got to get going on this stuff because it just gets worse every day. It's almost like you're having to rebuild the entire system from the bottom up. Companies that are already there, like Google, Apple, they're already engaged in what's called radical redesign. As soon as some of the old ways start kicking in, they go right in there and they tear it out of there and they say, let's start from scratch and try again. Another famous company with this is IDEO. That's what they do, is that they have what they call design thinking.
Right. Well, I mean, it's also the book DDO, Deliberately Developmental Organizations. So it's all about learning and growth. And those ain't busy learning are busy dying, as we always like to say. So thank you for joining us today. We're Work-Life Consulting, Dave and Laura Butler. Join us here. Please let us know if there's anything you would like to hear or anything we can share with you. I see that we have a comment from a colleague, very important topic. Thank you, Stacy. So great to see you through the online device here. But we're here every week, so please join us, and we look forward to hearing what you would like to hear more of. So thanks for listening.